I just want to thank everybody for raising their hand and participating in Global Entrepreneurship Week. My name is Dave Berlin, and I'm the state coordinator with Global Entrepreneurship Week, and I'm here at the roof of the incredible Ahern Hotel, one of our partners this year, and I'm very excited to see so many of the entrepreneurial groups and business owners come together. And the reason why I got involved with Global Entrepreneurship Week is it helps me further my mission to connect the people of our city, so together we can show the world who we really are. I just want to thank everybody for raising their hand and participating in Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Drove down, had nowhere to live. We were in one of the hotels for 6 weeks trying to get somewhere to live. So not planned well. But like the entrepreneurial community here is phenomenal. Like I joined a group called Entrepreneur Organization, and they're my people. Like, you know, I tell these stories and they're like, oh my gosh, I did something just like that. Yeah. Whereas most people are like,
you're crazy.
What? Okay. You did what? And then you did that after you did that. Like, and so I love it here and family oriented. I've made, and I was in LA for 4 years. I don't have a close friend in LA. And here, I've been here 2.5 years. I see somebody I
maybe a degree of separation here in Vegas. And again, and it's like that can be great and that can also be
I just sit with them like, what's going on, girlfriend?
Yeah.
And it comes out.
Yeah. And I think that that's what the beauty is, especially in the female space, is because we tend to come together a little bit more. We tend to share a little bit more. And I think if that's anything that any men out there can learn from us is speak up, because even for them as well, there's this like facade and person that they are supposed to be too. Just as women, we bear these burdens, men bear the burdens too of they're supposed to be the strong ones and they're supposed to, not show emotions and not emote, period. And they have to be the providers and do all these things. And I remember thinking about that because I'm divorced and just reflecting on my, past relationship and just
All right, we're live, and this time there shall be no technical issues because we've got B-boy Ronnie on the call, and I really want to get into your background, into your experience, and really how Angelica had so many great things to say about you, and so sorry everybody for the technical issues. Hopefully we're past that, and we can get into this. Ronnie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How's your evening?
Hey man, it's good. I started live streaming since 8 a.m. today. I've done about 17 interviews today, and this week about almost 40, something like that. I gotta rerun the numbers after all this, but I'm loving it. Through this I got to learn a lot about Vegas entrepreneurship. I got to hear about what entrepreneurs like, what entrepreneurs feel like are missing. Got some inspiration because I got to talk to some entrepreneurs that are really crushing it, and so I'm stoked. For everybody that's watching, could you please just introduce yourself and what you do? And
so my name is Ronnie Abaldonado. I am a b-boy, a breakdancer, and I've been doing this for 30 years. I started breaking in 1993. I represent several crews, but I guess the most well-known crew that I'm a part of is Super Crew. We're the winners of season 2 of America's Best Dance Crew. We won it back in 2008. And some of my crew members are also part of Jabberwocky, so we also perform with Jabberwockies. What was that?
That was a reaction.
That was a horn. That was a poo-poo.
Yeah, I wanted to give you dude, 30 years in the industry and sponsored by Red Bull and really putting it on the map. Here's
Thank you.
Probably not as cool as the applause you get on winning season 2, but
yeah, that was ancient though. That was so long ago. But yeah, so some of my crew members, or like 2 of my crew members and I, we opened up a dance studio here in Las Vegas back in 2012. And fortunately, we were able to stay open after 11 years. It's called District Arts. And it's it's on the west side of town here in Las Vegas. So yeah, we're still kicking.
That's great. It's awesome that you've been able to do that, right? Because one of the themes of this podcast that has come up was entrepreneurs and their juggle between creativity and business management, right? And as a b-boy and an artist, you're all the way on the creativity side, right? And so congratulations on being able to open up a dance studio and keep it open for 11 years and also through COVID. A ton of businesses. What inspired you to get into breaking in the first place? Like, what was that moment, or tell me about that discovery story?
Discovering breaking or just dancing in general, I think it just ran in my family's DNA. Me and my siblings, we always loved dancing, and pretty much in the late 80s, because I was originally from Guam. So even back when I was living in Guam, we used to watch MTV a lot and all the music videos, all the Michael Jackson music videos that were coming out. And it was a movie called Beat Street and Breakin' Electric Boogaloo. These are like 2 famous breaking movies that came out in the mid 80s. And I just remember watching it and just gravitating towards the idea of just, throwing my body all over the place. But I didn't understand the dance at all. And then fast forward when we moved here to the mainland and ended up, seeing people do it in person, me and my brother, that's when we start to realize, like, man, this is actually something. It's not just, it's a culture, and it's part of a very big culture. It's part of the hip hop culture. And then when I started diving deeper into the hip hop culture, I started just loving, every element and everything about the culture. And I started taking it serious. And yeah, 30 years later, I'm still here.
That's amazing. What advice would you have for somebody who is, either, in dancing or in, another area of the arts? What advice do you have for somebody to be able to pursue that full time and be able to turn it into something that could sustain you and your family?
Just staying consistent, because obviously this career is very unconventional. It's not really normal, at least not back when I started, right? When you would tell someone that you dance for a living, they're like, wait, what? I think more so in Las Vegas, because obviously this is the entertainment capital of the world, right? You could actually make a living out here, which, ironically, I moved here to Vegas in 94, around close to around the same time when I started. And a lot of my friends that were pursuing dance, they were all moving to LA, and they were trying to do the whole industry thing, movies, music videos, getting into acting. And at one point, I was going to move out there with some of my friends that started Jabberwockies when they started it 20 years ago, right? But I decided not to. I ended up staying here in Vegas. I started doing other things. I started touring, but then ironically, they all ended up moving here. And now there's a residency show in the MGM Grand that's been there for 13 years now. Yeah, since 2010. So that's everything we've been doing professionally within the world of dance, within the world of breaking, we've been doing it for at least 20 years professionally, even before the MTV TV show happened. And I think that's a big reason why both of our crews ended up winning, because we weren't just a crew that were put together last minute to do a TV show. We've been training majority of our lives for this. So yeah, it was almost destiny.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think you hinted at this, but you dance with the Jabberwockies crew as well, right?
Yes, yes. Well, we collaborated with them, Super Crew, because both of our crews won 2 seasons back to back on MTV's America's Best Dance Crew,
Oh, cool.
and some of my original crew members are also a part of Jabberwockies. So it's a very tight knit, you know, crew that we
Nice.
all pretty much grew up together.
Dude, that's awesome, man. There's nothing like being able to build a brand, build business, build a meaningful organization with people that you love and care about, right? If we have to like pick a business or a job or something, we're gonna spend 8 to 12 hours a day with this career. You know, you ought to do it with people that you care about, and
For
I think
sure,
that's definitely a blessing.
I
Um,
agree with that.
Awesome, awesome. So, I'm curious with the season competition, like, can you I know you said it was way back then, but can you just tell us, like, what was that like in terms of, timing? How long did that process take? And what it felt like?
Yeah, so my crew, Super Crew, we were on the show summer of 2008,
Okay.
and there was 12 episodes, and we were there for a whole summer, and every week they would eliminate a different crew. And the way the show worked was uh, it was America's vote, and there was a
Wow.
point where we were always on the bottom because America just wasn't voting for Super Crew, because we
Mm,
were the b-boy crew. We were, kind of like the rebel crew in the season. But the coolest thing is we were the only real crew. No offense to the other crews, but a lot of those crews were put together not because at that time we were already together for 8 years, because we
mm.
started Super Crew in 2000, and 8 years later they ended up having us in the show as a b-boy crew. And all the other crews, they were trying to make it more gimmicky, and it just didn't work for a lot of them. And yeah, we were just not the favorite crew. We were always on the bottom. So like there was 3 episodes we were on the bottom, but every time we were in the bottom, because as b-boys we're used to battling. That's our
Yeah.
thing. I guess we work better under pressure when we're pushed to the corner.
Yeah.
And every time we were in the bottom, the judges will always vote us out. So after they kept voting us out in the show, towards the end we just ended up winning the whole thing, which was huge. After shortly after we went on tour with Jabberwockies. Like I said, they won season 1, we won season 2, we went on tour, and then a year later it was when they opened up their residency show here in Las Vegas, and they asked us to be a part of it. And some of our crew members still perform in the show today.
That's amazing, man. That's super great. What an interesting story there. Um, the MTV show, did that happen here in Las Vegas or is that in LA?
It was in Warner Brothers Studios in LA.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But
Cool.
after that show, it just opened up a lot of doors for both of our crews. Jabberwocky is still working line and with Super Crew. So we
Mhm.
got to do a lot of cool things, traveling the world, performing together as a crew, and performing in a show. Because, like I said, back then, as a b-boy crew, we were traveling a lot, but we were competing. So
Yeah.
we were a competition crew that ended up winning a showcase show, which was also why we were always in the bottom, because we weren't used to creating choreography, and it was just a kind of different world for us. But now we understand it. Now we know how to create our own show. But getting into that show in 2008 was definitely, us breaking out of our comfort zone.
That's great. That's great. And so, you know, it's amazing you hinted at this a little bit earlier too, which is that like you stayed here in Vegas and a lot of your friends and the Jabberwockies crew, went to LA and then they ended up coming back to Vegas. And Vegas is the like entertainment capital of the world. It's built on the fun economy. There's so much going on here. Um, can you tell me a little bit about, the Vegas entrepreneurial and b-boy scene in terms of how it may have, helped or accelerated your career?
There wasn't really an industry for it when I started
Yeah.
breaking in the 90s, but then there were clubs out here that would just hire dancers in general, any kind of go-go dancers, hip
Mhm.
hop dancers, freestyle dancers. And then it started to become a thing where, breakers ended up making a lot of noise, because there was a point where we were working at one of the most popular clubs here, at the Hard Rock Cafe before it turned into Virgins. It was a
Nice.
club called Body English.
Mhm.
Back when DJ AM was alive, DJ Vice was DJing there. These are big DJs, and we were basically the party enforcers. They would create a circle in the middle of the club, in the middle of the dance floor. We would perform and just get everyone hyped, you know.
That's
And that, I think that was the beginning of something that I saw here in Vegas that ended up turning into something even bigger because, you know, eventually they started hiring b-boys in every major show. Like Cirque du Soleil at one point was just circus acts. They didn't have b-boys in that show.
yeah.
And then when they opened up Love, which is the Beatles show at the
Mhm.
Mirage, that was one of the first shows to hire b-boys. And now it's like a norm where if you go to MJ, Cirque du Soleil, if you go to Magic Mike, obviously Jabberwockies, the Love Show, every show has a few b-boys that are like a specialty act or that are part of the choreography. So now it's almost, you know, a must where if you have a show, you have to have a b-boy in it.
Yeah. Man, that is definitely a testament to faith in action, Ronnie, on your part to, you know, have the faith to stick to this career. You know, you started this essentially before anybody else was, you know, really doing it from like an economic
Mhm.
performance perspective, and then you got to witness that, and also, you know, by putting in the grit and the hard work, essentially create a you know, a movement that led to opportunity for other people
Mhm.
that share your passion. You know, what advice, you know, I met this you know, at our, we do this monthly entrepreneurship conference, and it's open to all ages, and at our last one we had a 16-year-old moderator. You know, we always have the youth like help moderate some of the panels.
Mm,
It's
that's
a
really
cool
cool.
opportunity for them. It's great for everyone else. And so, you know, one of the last questions was like, you know, how can what do you need help with, right? You know, she was asking for bookings because she's a dancer too, part of a crew in
Mm.
high school. So, what advice do you have for up and coming young folks that want to build a career in dancing?
Yeah, I would say just for one, you know, you want to surround yourself around people that believe in you, because a lot of times, you know, at least in my generation, it was hard to really do this because, you know, there was times where um, it was ridiculed. Like breaking was one of those
Mm.
dances. Like, what didn't that get played out in the '80s? Didn't it die out in the '80s? But then what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of b-boys from overseas or from this culture, b-boys and b-girls that never stop, really helped build this ecosystem, right? And now I don't know if you know this, but breaking is officially in the Olympics.
Oh,
So it's
dude.
going to be in the Paris Olympics 2024. And
Wow.
even within the world of Red Bull, there's
Mhm.
an event called Red Bull BC1, and it's huge. You know, they've had this event for 20 years now, and I've been to every single world final since it started, and
Nice.
every year it's in a different country. So I mean, the advice I would give is just, you know, surround yourself around like passionate people or positive people that share the same passion as you. And I think that's what it was, because I had a crew, and a lot of us never gave up. We stuck together, you know, even and then so just so you know, Super Crew is 3 crews. It's my original crew, Full Force, that me and my older brother started in 1995, which we still have. So the owners of my studio are part of Full Force Crew, and then we
Cool.
collaborated 2 other crews, and we created Super Crew, and then Super Crew ended up winning this big TV show, and
Yep.
a lot of the members that are still in this crew, we still dance together. We're literally leaving to Japan in 2 weeks to still compete. And a lot of us are literally 40, 41. Like I'm 41 years old, and we're still doing it. So not only have we been doing it for so long, we're also pushing the envelope, showing this newer generation that, you know, age is nothing but a number. Like we're in our 40s and we're still able to do this. We're still able to dance. And yeah, so it's just consistency. That's the advice, you know, just find the right people, find the right group, the right support group to continue to push you to, you know, push the envelopes, and just stay creative as well too, because you don't want
Yeah.
to be stagnant, you know. You want to be able
Yeah.
to evolve and innovate, and yeah, stay young, because for me I'm 41, but I think dancing kept me feeling,
Oh,
and
for sure. With the, you know, it's physically demanding, right? And
mm,
you wanna land the moves. I'm not dancer, I'm just kind of, speculating here, and so you can really push yourself, right? Physically to be able to do that, and that's probably has like a positive health benefit to that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
I never
you,
thought I'd be doing it for this long, to be honest with you.
yeah.
I didn't think
That's
I'd still
cool.
be competing at this age.
I think that's pretty great, honestly. 40 is still young. Like we're in one of the greatest generations of all of human time, right? Where we get to live longer, we get to do what
Mhm.
we love. If we can kind of play our cards right and follow our calling, and follow what the universe calls us to do, and there's great rewards when you maintain the faith and you go through that valley of despair. Entrepreneurs, also face that too, and we talk about like surrounding yourself with other supporters, with people who are going to support you, because for me in the very beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, yeah, I was an entrepreneur like as a kid sometimes, and I used web design and my entrepreneurial skills to help me pave my way through college. But I went to college for biology, and I was pre-med, son of immigrant parents, right? And so in my I graduate undergrad, I take the MCATs, I'm working on my med school applications, but I just finished being student president at my university. I was like big organizer on campus, and I got invited to go live in the Airstream Park that belonged to Tony Hsieh downtown. So now I'm surrounded by all these
Whoa.
entrepreneurs, and I'm only like 20 years old.
So
You
you're
know,
from Vegas?
yeah, I've been in Vegas like 17 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So I remember the night when I was like, I'm not gonna go to medical school. I wanna launch a business and do that full time. And family, all my professors, the people who vouched for me, wrote me letters and stuff like that. There was like a lot of huge level of like disappointment associated
Yeah,
with that like last minute change. Everybody was so hype about being, becoming a scientist, and I love science, but there was something that clicked, and I felt called to pursue technology, right? And so I did that, and I
that's
had to
awesome.
spend like a couple of years of like proving everybody else wrong. Not that I'm trying to prove anybody wrong, but just kind of like hunker down, have faith in myself, surround myself with co-founders and other people.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, my first startup failed. It was a disaster. But I was lucky because I lived in that park. My neighbor was launching Uber in Vegas, and I got to join his team and help launch Uber in Vegas. And so that was like
Wow.
amazing on tech startup experience. And then I got to do a couple other tech startup launches since then, and still.
Hey,
Can
hold on. It was cutting out again.
you
Hold on. Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, set to plug. Did you see me?
hear me? Yeah, I see now.
Yeah, it's still cutting in and out again. Hey.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey.
Hey, sorry about this, man.
All good. Should.
Excited about the conversation.
Yeah. We could start all over.
Okay. Would it be too crazy to like try to schedule this for something in person?
I could try, but I know you guys are like limited because like I'm leaving out of town like a lot. So yeah, I mean we could try. It just depends on the date. Yeah. What day were you thinking?
I was thinking as early as tomorrow. I'm not sure what's going on in town.
Yeah, I leave Sunday and I'm like pretty busy tomorrow. Yeah,
For sure.
unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if this stream will work again. We can continue this conversation. I'm gonna unmute myself here on the.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Keep it.
Yeah, it's cutting in and out. I don't know if you can hear me. All right, that's better. It's a little bit better.
Okay. Super strange.
Yeah, there it is. Is there something I could do on my
So
side
my
to
lane
help?
is no, dude. I think I've been pushing this software to its limits.
Oh, that's
I've
what it is.
experienced
You're
all
right.
sorts of
Huh?
glitches.
Oh man,
I don't
I
think,
could only
I don't think
imagine.
they
If,
expected me to. Yeah, yeah. But I can edit this,
yeah,
so like, if we do get some content, like I can edit it so that we have some good social
cool.
bites at least.
Nice. All
Who
right,
do you
yeah.
look up to?
Well, my older
Who do you look up
brother. I would say my older brother is one of them. My older brother is the founder of the crew that we started in '95, and yeah, he's an entrepreneur himself. We started a company actually about 10 years ago, Footwork Production, and we were throwing a lot of big breakdancing events, and we were throwing them at such a high caliber here in Las Vegas. We would do it at the Hard Rock Cafe on the Strip, right next to Showcase Theaters. And it was
That's
great
dope.
because we were doing all the USA qualifiers. We were doing a USA qualifier for a big event called Battle of the Year, which ironically is the event that I'm going to in 2 weeks to Japan, the one I was telling you about.
Yep.
We did R16 dance live freestyle session. Like we basically organized all the biggest international events, and we did the USA qualifiers here in Las Vegas. So we brought a lot of crews nationally to Las Vegas, which wasn't hard to do because when you promote anything in Las Vegas, everyone wants to come.
Yeah, totally. That's one of the cool things about Vegas, for sure.
Yes.
Do you listen to any podcasts or have you read any books or that you could recommend?
I mean, podcasts, I see a lot. Just obviously, that will pop up, on my social media feeds. I don't read a lot, but there was a book by, I forgot who it was. Oh my gosh, my daughters are awake. The reason why I did this late was because I was hoping they would be asleep, but I just heard one of my daughters.
How old are your kids?
I have a 2 and a 5-year-old.
Oh wow, dude. Well, thank you,
Yeah,
man, for
yeah,
taking the time to do this. If you need to
yeah. Of
check out the
course. Yeah. But a book that I read a long time ago is The Way of a Peaceful Warrior. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
a really, I don't know if you heard of that book. Yeah. It's a really good book. Like it's the only book that really stood out. And, I read it a couple of times. And it's one of those books that after you read it, you give it to someone else. And it was given to me by a friend in Hong Kong. It was a friend that I met in Hong Kong. and I was kind of going through stuff in my life, you know, because I lost my younger brother.
Mm.
And then he was like, read this book. And I was like, I don't really read. He's like, but trust me, I'll give you a peace of mind. And actually did.
That's amazing. What was the big takeaway?
Just about life and, you know, how we stress about nothing when you just realize the true meaning of, you know, living.
Yeah, for sure. That's deep, dude. I
It's
didn't
deep,
expect
yeah.
us to take that turn, but coming back into the realm of entrepreneurship for a moment, you said that you started a couple companies. It sounds like, right? You had the Forward Production where you were doing events. You have the art, the dance studio. I mean,
Yeah.
where did y'all get the business acumen from? Because was it self-taught? Did you have somebody in the crew that just has a knack for it? Like, where did you learn that stuff?
It was self-taught. It was mainly my brother, because really what I would be confident in specializing in on the Princess is organizing dance events, because that's what I know. So and marketing, just because I work with Red Bull. So anytime I would hold on, Princess. Anytime I would throw an event here in Vegas, my older brother would lean on me to be kind of like the forefront, getting a hold of the crews, hiring the DJs, getting the judges, and he would take care of the back end stuff, just like the finances. Because there was a point where I was sponsored by Braun, which is a shaving company. So
Cool.
whatever capital I was making from that, I was putting towards the events we were doing. You know, as far as paying for the rental of the venue and putting the prize money up. And a lot of this is actually documented. So everything that I'm talking about is actually on TV. So if you go on Red Bull TV, there's 2 reality shows. There's a show called Breaking Reality and a show that just came out earlier this year called Breaking Beyond. So these are 2 reality shows that basically document my life and other dancers' lives and what we've been through. And everything we've been talking about, everything we're talking about right now is documented in this reality show.
Dude, super legendary. Kind of should have led with that. Should have led with TV star as well as
No, not a TV star. It's just
Hey,
I've had a lot of opportunities in the past 30 years of my career.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Can I know we've shared a lot. Just a couple more questions. Real quickly. One that I definitely want to get to is the Red Bull piece. How did you secure that? That's definitely like a life-changing opportunity, right? I mean, it sounds like it's brought lots of opportunities in itself.
Yeah, I got really lucky with that. So when I was talking to you earlier about Red Bull's been supporting the breaking culture for the past 20 years, it started in 2004 in Switzerland, where they had the biggest 1-versus-1 b-boy competition. And in 2004, I got invited, and I ended up placing second that year.
Nice.
And back then with Red Bull BC1, anytime you place top 3, they always bring you back the following year. So in 2004, I placed second. 2005 in Germany, I placed third. 2006 in Brazil, I placed second again. And finally, in 2007, I ended up winning the whole thing. So I won the World Championship in Johannesburg, South Africa in 2007. And what's crazy is literally a year later, I ended up winning America's Best Dance Crew with Super Crew. So it was all like this. Dude, but the crazy thing is none of this happened for the first 10 years of my career. So from 93 to like 2003, 2004, I was just practicing in my garage in high school and middle school, even during college. And I was just dancing. So the first 10 years of my, I guess, dance career, I didn't do anything. So another advice I'll give people is you have to be patient. Everyone, especially in this generation, they want it now. They want it yesterday, But sometimes things takes a decade. At least for me, it took a decade, right?
Yeah. Dude, that is one of the biggest lessons for sure. Patience and time invested, right? I mean,
yes.
Just doing some quick math, and it's probably totally off, so you can correct it however you want. But, if you just did like an hour of practice every day in those 10 years, right? That's already 3,000, almost 4,000 hours of effort that you put in to get to that moment where you can start winning competitions, right? And so if
That's
you have to
true.
like
Yeah.
fathom what 4,000 hours of work looks like, it is, nonstop commitment and consistency, and then nothing is happening over those 4,000 hours, right? Or it doesn't seem like that. And so, huge, kudos to you. I think that totally, that you totally embody the entrepreneurial spirit in terms of like working hard towards something that nobody else can really believe in or see the results of for so
Yeah.
long, but just deep down that the universe is pulling you in this direction and that you have to follow it the way through, and you finally were rewarded with that result. But it wasn't it wasn't luck, man. Luck is the intersection of preparation and opportunity, right? You prepared and prepared and prepared and put yourself in front of plenty of opportunities, right? Even the whole placing second and then placing third could have been another
Yeah.
valley in despair moment where you're like, I thought I was gonna get better. And
Yeah,
many
you're
people
right.
did along those steps of the journey. And so
Yeah,
that's amazing, man.
it's really just staying consistent, and now with all that being behind us, now there's a almost like a template that people could follow. There's
Oof.
structure to this now,
Yeah.
because back then this was uncharted territory. No one ever thought that there could be an ecosystem for breaking in the world. Now with what I was telling you earlier, it's in the Olympics. I have friends that have literally been breaking for less than 10 years, and they're like world champions now, or like around 10 years. I would say 10 years is kind of like the mark, right?
Yeah.
And they're getting sponsorships from Toyota, Mercedes, Nike, and Red Bull was one of the first major sponsors for breaking. So now I feel like, everything we've been doing, we've been setting this precedence for the standard of breaking, and I think breaking has a bright future.
Yep. Yeah, dude, it's amazing what happens when you trailblaze, right? And you prove to people what can be done. Then the human spirit needs less faith to execute, right? And it becomes easier. So I'm curious, you said you're 40 plus, and so, there's a lot of reflection you can do in your career, but you're at that interesting point where there's a lot of, thinking about what you could do in the future. Is there anything that you can share with us about, where, what you want to do, anything that you're working towards or dreaming towards?
Uh, you know what? I really look up to Dana White and what he
Mhm.
built, and I know his
Yeah,
story. I've actually met
yeah,
him, and he's. I really look up to this dude.
yeah.
So I always, you know, wanted to create something along the lines of the UFC with the breaking version of it in Las
That's cool.
Vegas.
That's
And
cool.
we kind of started with my older brother and I, a few years back. But I would love to do something that big here in Las Vegas. And I mean, we're still kind of doing it, but not to that caliber. I did for 2 years. I did an event at Container Park, B-Boy
Nice.
Showdown during Life is Beautiful.
Awesome.
So yeah, so because I worked with Red Bull, and obviously I got sponsored after I won Red Bull
Mhm.
BC1, so they've been supporting me a lot with my studio, and they've also been coming to me for some ideas. So one of those ideas was to do an event. This was pre-COVID, so for 2 years we did an event at Container Park called B-Boy Showdown and Dancer Style, which is an all-style competition, but I could see something bigger than that, especially now that
Yeah.
breaking is going to be in the Olympics. I could just see there being something more mainstream here in Las Vegas.
That's amazing, man. I can totally see that too, if it's, on trend and that's what it is, it's trending and continuing to trend upwards. And I think that's a really interesting comparison with UFC, taking a sport, combining entertainment, combining, the Las Vegas effect. Um, what do you think you need? Like, or, where do you need support to help bring that into fruition? If you could put it out there.
Marketing, a nice venue, uh, yeah, just the right people, the right team to help put it
Yeah.
together. Because sometimes
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a one man team. Like I mean, I have help from my crew, but to build something that big, I would need a loyal team that's willing to put in the work.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I hope this has been an awesome story to highlight, Ronnie. You're pretty much the last interview that I'm doing in this like interview sprint. So I I appreciate that we were able to go deep. We're able to go very creative. You know, you're very humble for somebody who's achieved so much, and I really respect that.
I appreciate that.
And I hope you know, this can bring you some opportunity, just like it's going to bring us exposure. So how can folks, you know, follow you or get in touch with you?
Really, the only social media that I go on is Instagram.
Mhm, mhm.
So Ronnie_FF.
Cool. That's awesome.
is
So
the handle.
Ronnie_FF. Anything else you want to share with folks before we go?
No, I just follow me on social media. I have a dance studio here in Las Vegas, so if you're in the area, come check out District Arts. It's on the west side of town, Port Apache and Tropicana.
Oh,
And I
dope.
do have an event coming up December 2nd.
Oh,
So if
nice.
you want to come check out my event, it's in a few weeks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is it at
Also
your
follow
arts
District
dance
Arts.
studio?
Yes. So if you follow District Arts social media as well, you could see some of the promo for the next upcoming event that we have.
Heck
And
yeah.
then next year, we're celebrating my crew, Full Force's 29th year anniversary. This is the crew that I started in 1995, and we're still around, which is amazing because we have a lot of younger generations, or we have a younger generation that are now kind of holding down the fort of our crew, and they're the ones that are competing. And yeah. So this is like a legacy thing that we have going.
Dude, absolutely, man. You know, the parallel that I'm drawing with you, and you know, land wherever it lands, is Eminem. You know, Eminem, I think is also. I think he just turned 50. I'm not sure, right? But like,
Yeah.
you know, he still spits like he's 20. You know, he's
Yeah.
still hardcore, and that he's also investing into the next generation of rappers.
Yeah,
And
Easy Mill. You know about Easy Mill, right?
Easy Mail.
Easy Mill is so Eminem was looking for a new white rapper. I don't know if you know about this. So he ended up discovering Easy Mill, who's white and Filipino.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, and he signed him on. So if you look up Easy Mill's social media, literally there's a picture with him and Dr. Dre and Eminem
Bro,
signing him.
that's
And
amazing.
yeah, look him up. He's from
Yeah.
Vegas. He's
You know
from
what's
Vegas.
really cool about that too? Just the interesting thing, right? Like Dr. Dre gave Eminem a chance, right? Eminem raps about this, like being a white boy in the rap industry, and you know, having to break through. And then Dr. Dre gave him that opportunity, and then Eminem blew up Dr. Dre to a whole nother level, and they, you know, blew each other up. I mean, you know, Dr. Dre is also an OG, of course. And so it's amazing to see Eminem kind of do that too for other people, like, you know, not look at the stereotypes, you know, just break down the barriers, and just, you know, respect the raw talents and empower that. That's amazing. I'll definitely give Easy Mills some listens later on.
Yeah, hey, he's amazing, man. The crazy thing is before Eminem signed him, because like I said, he's from Vegas. So anytime he was doing like these showcases or music videos, he would rehearse at my friend's spot, and a couple of times he rehearsed at District Arts. That's how I met him. He rehearsed at my studio, and I always knew that, you know, he was destined for greatness. So when he got signed with Eminem, I'm like, oh yeah, of course that makes sense, because he raps not just in English. He could rap in Tagalog, and then he raps in Visayan and in Ilocano, which are two different dialects of the Philippines. So he could rap in 4 different languages.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, totally. You know, definitely love all that. Love all that. Definitely excited to check it out. You know, I'll do my best to come support your events. We'll just drop by the studio sometime. Maybe we can meet you in person.
Yeah. You have my number, so get a hold of me, and yeah, come through.
Sweet. And then next week is Global Entrepreneurship Week. We have over a dozen events. So we're going to go ahead and sign out of this stream, but I'm going to just play the upcoming events that we have on the calendar. And folks, I hope to see y'all there.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ronnie. Have a nice evening.
Cool interview. You too. Have a good night.